Well, we've had a little break. We're all ready to go again. We're full of excitement and energy. We're ready to get into the final best of 3 of today. We've just had Optic, fall. A bit of an upset with X Epsilon if you weren't there. And X Epsilon obviously not coming into it as an expected team to go through, but they've obviously toppled Optic, and I have a chance to do so.
Yeah, no, it was pretty impressive, honestly, from X Epsilon. Obviously, Optic won the New York Invitational. We expected them to maintain that good form. Not capable of doing so. So they're out of the tournament already, even though I think they would have obviously run into more issues than what they did during the New York Invitational, considering the fact that Mouse Sports, for example, are in this tournament as well. Yep. But now we're going to be focusing on One More Time versus Heroic. And from what we saw on the first play for both these teams, One More Time definitely looked more impressive, but that's because Heroic have yet to actually grab a round in this Invitational up to this point.
I mean, even if One More Time picked up one round, that's already looking more impressive, right? So
yeah,
we're going to get to see a best of 3, though. This is where Heroic should feel a little bit more comfortable and already going for the Mirage pick. We know that's their home ground, and One More Time find Dust 2 yet again.
Yeah, and the final map is going to be Nuke as a decider. That's pretty interesting. Heroic actually avoiding overpass. That was the first ban for One More Time, so that's probably an added bonus for them.
Yeah, they'll be pretty happy that they didn't have to ban it. They kind of get a free ban there, right?
Yeah, and Dusty being the pick of One More Time, that's the same we saw them play versus
G2.
There we go. G2, yes, exactly. And to be fair, I mean, they lost 16-8, but they were keeping it close until about halfway through their game, 10-8. That's where G2 kind of put their final foot on the neck.
Yeah.
The foot on the neck.
Really. You've had enough fun.
Exactly.
It's over.
but it was looking pretty promising. Again, sure, some of the rounds weren't necessarily off of strategical mastery. We saw Eggsy and those guys actually step up individually from time to time, which is pretty good. That's a good sign. And if they want to go back to Dust 2, I can fully understand that from their end.
Yeah. You just mentioned Exy. Definitely the standout player, I have to say, for One More Time.
Yeah.
Certainly looked like the best player they've got in their ranks. And, a lot of people at home probably aren't going to be too familiar with this team. They actually managed to come through the open qualifier to the closed qualifier and obviously find themselves here at the Invitational. And that's such a hard feat in itself because they have good teams in those open qualifiers.
Absolutely.
There's only a few that are invited.
Absolutely so. So the fact that they're able to make it that far obviously spells quality. And now we're going to get to see how much, I guess how wide that quality stretches in terms of over multiple maps. Because, again, going through the qualifiers, sure, you have to play best of 3s, but you're not playing best of 3s against the same caliber of teams as you do in the actual Invitational. So they're really going to get their mettle tested in this one, but that's part of, the story of a growing team, right? You have to go through these ventures and sometimes get stomped, sometimes find small steps of progress, but it's all a part of the whole journey. So I'm really excited to see what they can come up with. And for Heroic side, they can't really do worse than what they did yesterday versus Gamer Legion. But it's important for us to see some signs of life because they were doing so well before they started making roster changes when they had the lineup with NATO, Safix, and Freiburg in there. And it's not like their replacements in Snappy and Borup are bad players by any means. It's just the fact that it doesn't really seem like they found their groove within this 5-man roster.
Exactly. You coined the term growing roster, right? Or a growing team. That's certainly what Heroic are as well, right?
Yeah.
They're a team that are currently growing after exiling 2 of their own players to, Native Safix and Freiburg are gone.
Yeah.
And we talked about how this is strange. It's because they had reached their highest ever ranking on HLTV
they were looking
with this
super
roster.
good. They were so strong. They were qualifying for pretty much everything. And I mean, the couple of times they don't, like for Chicago, for example, they didn't qualify because they lost to Force in the finals.
They got there anyway.
They got there anyway, obviously. But they've always been very competitive with that lineup, and we're just not really showing any signs of slowing down. Players were playing supremely well individually. So it was a bit of a weird one to see it being mixed up that much. And as we start, we can see Heroic at 1.11, and odds being natural favorites at the very start of it. We'll see how long that lasts. SSTag has already started off, and that's the heavy hitter on One More Time, taken out of the battle.
Well, Chewy is going to be the front man on in. It is going to be 1 kill, though, coming in from FIZ. Stown able to help him on the Heroic side, but it's Chewy finding the follow-up. To the T side, it's a 3v3 here. They've done a decent job of taking the bomb site. I just have to try and hold off this retake attempt. Is BlameF doing some damage? It's Borup, though, that will take a kill. As Kai looking to try and keep these Heroic players off of the bomb site. He's doing a good job so far. Just needs one more bullet to connect on a BlameF. He's dropped him so low, and there's the kill on towards SSTag. And BlameF meets the same fate. So Heroic still yet to win a round in the Invitational.
you get the feeling that eventually that trend is going to get bucked. But for right now, one more time, I have to be feeling happy about winning the pistol. Going to be interesting to see what kind of a bounce back story event it's going to be for Heroic, especially on the individual part of it. I think overall it was pretty lackluster, but Stavin and Borup were probably two of the names that somewhat surprised me in terms of not being able to have much of an impact yesterday versus Gamer Legion. Normally players that you'd expect to be able to connect on their shots more often than not.
I really do wonder, because I've seen an article kind of saying Freiburg uses his inside information. I really wonder if that was a big factor, but 2 great kills from Snappy. It will be IFRZ who drops him, and he'll be looking for a little bit more, but realizes he has the bomb, so might have to plant that instead of taking aim fights. And so this does get them a good chance, but look how low all the players on One More Time are. Highest HP is 29, and these scouts certainly are scary because now they're instant shots. Deagle also, so One More Time need to be a bit more passive and allow Heroic some space to work with here. And this is going to be very scary for the Poles.
So low HP. Obviously, if Heroic knew, they would just be running around with pistols. Stavin's still going to connect with the scout shot, and well, just like that.
We go.
It's all sorted out.
3 scout kills come in almost instantly, so Defuse is through for Heroic, and that will be their first on the board. Barely enough time, but they get it.
Calculated. And they also get to pick up 3 AKs off of that. So talk about a turnaround. It is, I guess, more to what you expect out of the Danish squad. The individual skills should, on a normal day, be outgunning what One More Time really has to offer, at least as far as we've seen so far. And One More Time actually going to opt to buy into this one as well. It's an SG Eagle and an AK, but no real utility to speak of, and already 2 of those weapons have been chunked pretty heavily.
Well, Smoke goes in towards lower connector. Smoke comes up for the window from the T side. BlameF just wants to look over the top, but a couple of shots are ringing past his head.
The timing might not favor him. As re-smoke for connector. We'll see how far forward BlameF wants to go here. And right now, they're just ducking each other barely without actually knowing it. I think he's going to hang out still in mid, though. Wait until the smoke dissipates. Probably try to play around connector late as we see the rest of the team actually rotating around over towards that 8 bomb site. They don't have any more utility to work off of, so they're just going to have to go off of contact and hope for the best here. Need to find some immediate connections. Molotov goes out. They get sectioned off. Borg finds one. And doesn't even get the chance to add on to it, but eventually will. 2 for him, 2 for Esatag, and an easy kill for Stavin as well.
Yeah, much better from Heroic today.
Yeah, and that was, it's not necessarily an ill-advised force buy on the side of One More Time, but it's a very hopeful one that they opted to go in for. And it's completely depleted their funds as well. So, yeah, Eco coming in, and what should be a pretty easy round for Heroic.
We didn't really set the scene too hard coming into this, but I think it's pretty clear that Heroic should just be the heavy favorites in this matchup.
Oh, absolutely.
Overall, One More Time shouldn't really stand a tiny chance in this. You know, they have got
16-5 kind of a thing.
Yeah, this should be a Heroic win pretty convincingly.
Absolutely so. And for what we talked about with the individuals on... Oh, Plan actually snuck in there through apps. They fell for the oldest trick in the book.
You go A, I go B.
Yeah. But yeah, on the side of Heroic, we talked about the individuals being lacking yesterday. Whenever we've seen them play Mirage, maybe it hasn't necessarily been a team effort, but BlameF seemingly just averages 30 frags on this map whenever we see Heroic play.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts, right? The level of consistency with that. Because sometimes you'll see a player just, we talk about them having an affinity to a certain map, but BlameF consistently drops those numbers on this map.
Yeah.
We don't know if it's going to be the same case here, because obviously the roles are bound to shift just with the way different players play, whether or not BlameF will be able to put himself in those positions. But
still around connector, so he's going to be active at least.
He is the in-game leader, and he wants to be a star. So if he wants to, he's obviously, if he's in-game leading, he's calling the shots. He's obviously going to put himself in a position where he's going to be able to shine.
Yeah. Kind of like the small detail there from Heroic as well. They actually let Stavin, who had the least amount of money of the ones alive, go for the defuse, so he gets 300 extra bucks.
Yeah, that is a small thing that you may not catch, but it definitely does bring a lot to the
Can
roster.
add up on a CT side, right? You want everyone to have utility. Oh, that's a ill-advised grenade pull-up. Just gets punished for it as well. Chewy has been chunked down to 20 HP, and we'll make that 0. The airdrop comes in from Snappy. So whatever foothold they had been able to make on that A-bomb site is quickly evaporated. Right now, there's a little bit of instability. It doesn't seem like Heroic has a complete idea as to what's going on and where they can actually expect to find these terrorists, but we're mopping them up all over the place regardless. Hades moving up towards A ramp, and he's going to spot Orb jumping up and down with low HP. Pretty easy kill. That might actually lead to a bomb plant as well. He could get one down if it was early enough. I'm not really sure why he wants to smoke off connector, considering he has a teammate there. But all right, Snappy's going to give it up. And yeah, Hades actually walking through his teammate's smoke. That made no sense on any level. If anything, you use the smoke for spawn or jungle because you already have connector control. And it's the CTs that have to run through the smoke, and that'll make your jobs that much easier. But still, 1v2, open plant, so still a possibility. You don't need to turn for that.
Oh, he's landed both shots and they're low, but Stan will take it. And that will be it. 4-1. As Heroic will win the clutch, and Stan gets another defuse to his name.
Getting real rich.
Just off the back of defuse. Look, he's on 9K at this point.
Stacking it up. Oh, picks up a better op skin as well. Throws it over to S-Attack, and away we go. Well, I say away we go, but there's a bit of a tech pause for the time being.
Yeah. While we're having this pause, though, Halvor.
Yeah.
The viewers at home can head over to GG.Bet.com and use the code SAVE, all capitals, SAVE, S-A-V-E. And, you know, there's no queues, there's no business hours, and no rejections. So make sure you head over to GG.Bet to ensure your bet.
Yeah. It's definitely not a bad idea. And Heroic right now, they're ensuring that they get more and more rounds on the board. 4-1. And there is a buy coming in from One More Time eventually. But it's going to be, well, kind of buy, yeah, exactly. The lacking type of it, where there's not a whole lot of utility. And again, if they want to focus, like they've done in the early stages of the game, on getting mid-control, then they have to make something work off of that, because they can't kind of get mid-control and do nothing with it, fall back and try to set up for an execute on another bomb site without any sort of utility. And when you only have 3 smokes and 2 flashes, you are very limited on how many goes you get at this. We'll see, though. So far, a lot of them are facing towards A, and we might see just a smoke going in for top, mid, and window. Now they only have 1 smoke, so this might just be a contact play off of 1 lamp flash, and that's going to be it. Ooh, Bork won't spot someone. Drops the smoke, and here we go.
Well, 2 quick kills come Borup's way. He will switch out to the 8K.
This is feeling a little bit too simplified on the side of One More Time.
Yeah, and it's kind of disjointed as well. You got one guy walking at underpass, trying to make the play because everyone else is dead elsewhere. And I think Mose has made a very good point during the major final. In these certain scenarios where you have the underdog and you're getting destroyed, sometimes you start to feel the pressure that you have to be the person that makes that play.
Yeah. And it's oftentimes not necessarily what you need to do either. That's not necessarily a recipe for getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, perhaps sticking to the system that's tried and proved, right? But just because it didn't work a few times doesn't mean it won't work across a number of runs.
100%. Well, this buy definitely didn't pan out at all. And you'd hope that they actually opt in for a bit of a half investment here. Even though they would have had enough money to buy AKs. Again, it would have been a similar scenario of not having the utility they need. And then, yeah, it seems like they've thought wisely about this. So pistols, 1 scout. I'm actually going to buy a light Kevlar on it as well. So might be something to keep an eye on. But nonetheless, they do have the loss bonus stacking up for themselves. So shouldn't be too much of an issue.
So 5-1 with Heroic looking pretty solid here on Mirage. Generally, we've come to get used to that. There will be a push from one more time in towards the A bomb site as they start to send their troops on through. It will be Blimefdel playing on the edge of the bench. He will get blinded. At least he comes away with 1 kill. Could have been a lot worse. The Snappy's ready for that.
Stammen just hanging out. He's going to hear the footsteps from XZ as well. Can't connect any of his shots, though. And as soon as this fades, one of them will come out victorious. It's going to be Stavin. Farzi with the scouts still posted up in apps. He's going to need to land multiple shots for this to be a reality. Starts off with 1, but that was Snappy on 2 HP. And Stavin definitely having a better go of it this time. He ended up with a total of 2 frags, if I'm not mistaken, versus Gamer Legion. Now he's already at 11.
I've been really looking forward to seeing this heroic roster play, and you know, it's just kind of unfortunate they got 16-0 yesterday, because I don't think that's going to tell the true story of what this team can do. Because adding the likes of Borup to your team, a very talented young Danish player, and also adding Snappy, an experienced Danish player with that has the potential to frag as well, I think it's obviously going to perhaps not improve immediately the team, but I feel like over the long run, if everyone's happier with this roster, it should reap some pretty solid results.
Should have a positive impact, right? At least you'd imagine so, but yeah, they haven't really gone through that honeymoon stage, to put it mildly.
There are some teams that immediately get that, right, and just have that performance straight away, and we call that the honeymoon period, and then it dies.
Yeah, and then everything goes horribly wrong.
I would personally rather have a pretty rough start, but over the long period of time just become more stable.
Yeah, build into it for sure. Because I think a lot of people, a lot of teams and players get so content with the fact that they're doing well right off the bat that they expect this kind of progress to continue. It's like, well, we're doing all of this with 2 weeks of practice. Imagine what we can do in 3 months' time.
I actually listened to an interview, sadly, just before NATO Safis got kicked from Heroic. But he did it with Thorin, and he was kind of talking about how this, I think it was on Counterpoints, actually.
Yeah.
He was talking about how Esatag is actually like a second star of the team in his eyes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and I feel like he is a player that's overlooked a lot if you're from the outside. And yeah, I feel like Esatag does have quite a bit of skill that perhaps is untapped at the minute.
And Esatag was in this kind of weird position where he initially got brought into this heroic lineup. He didn't really perform very well individually, to the point where he got benched. And from that point on, you kind of expected him to end up in a lower tier team in Denmark, and that would be about it. Hold my thoughts, though, as one more time, we're trying to pick up the pace towards B here.
And it stopped.
Shut down. This was a buy round as well, keep in mind.
It's kind of, everyone's had these games. If you've ever had the chance to play against a really solid team on Mirage and you're the underdog, everyone's had this game where it just doesn't go well.
Yeah, it just feels like whatever set you're going to, they've stacked up with an additional player. They always seem to have a good idea of what's going on. You can't get mid control, so you're just blindly executing towards sites.
Yeah.
It's a really rough position to be in, and that's kind of where One More Time find themselves in. But yeah, back to Esatag's situation. He only really had that massive jump in terms of performance on an individual level after he was benched and brought back, when there was a bit of a chaotic time in Heroic's everyday life where they couldn't really find the last fifth. So Esatag jumped in, played super well, and as a result of it, became a mainstay again. But I think just because of the rough initial start he had, that's why people don't expect too much of him, even though he's showcased over a long period of time that he can actually do a whole lot. But right now, nothing's going the way of Heroic here. ZZs, Deagles, and an AWP getting stuff done. But they have been tagged up pretty heavily, all of them. So there's potential here for Snappy to get a couple of very quick kills. We'll see how this pans out, if he can find the right timing.
Well, Snappy's going to have to do a lot here. He moves to the left. There's the first kill. There's the second. Can he find the third? Unfortunately for him, no, because hit ace was too quick on the AWP. So it's on Borup, the new gun. Can he get anything done, though? 2 players extremely low. One's up towards the apartments. Oh, my God, he's hit him through the wall. If he'd only known how low he was, he would start to spam that wall. But unfortunately, he's not going for it. And Chewy, he's going to be waiting, biding his time for Hades to sneak up on the right.
It's like one of those aim practice maps where you have this player models moving back and forth. You have to swing back to see if you could get land the one taps. And he's not going to be successful with it, but still, I guess, minor bump in the road for Heroic, but they're still looking pretty fine. I mean, they're not going to have any monetary issues at all just yet. But a big round for One More Time to pick up off of a very scrappy buy.
Well, Stound's actually a really, really gifted individual player.
Yeah.
In terms of not only being an individually skilled player, but being good on his own. He's a lone
Very
wolf,
smart.
and he is very, very smart indeed. And that's a great kill from Stound coming in towards
Now he's
Kai.
hopping as well, so
Yeah, he's doing a lot.
can do it all. He's what, 16 years of age?
Super young.
Yeah.
I think as soon as he starts to develop his personality and starts to, like within a big team, I feel that's when he starts to understand his capabilities as a player, and he will start to demand more star roles because he's certainly capable of them.
He's definitely an exceptional prospect. He's one of the, I guess, the wonder kids of Counter-Strike that we have. Obviously, Zai was the #1 in that sense.
Yes.
Kind of hard to compete with him, but you got players like Esperanto and Stavin not that far behind, really. Obviously, many, many years to continue with that development. And just being in a team like Heroic at this kind of an age is a very impressive feat. Blame F continuing his good form. 2 frags for him, but Chewy has been able to manage Stavin, outsmart him. It's netted him a bomb plant. So some money gained for one more time, and that's much needed as well, considering they are looking to be, well, somewhat reset. Obviously, you don't have the hard resets anymore, but hard pressed to see how he's going to win this out.
Yeah, with them all moving in from different positions as well. It would have to be exceptionally played from a positional point of view. And there's the first kill. His position's quite strong here. He can turn this into a series of 1v1s, but unfortunately doesn't get the timing correct onto Borup. Defuse coming in from Blame F, and that will be it. So 9-2 here for Heroic. And there we go. Pretty happy with that, I'm sure.
Back in winning ways. A little bit surprised by how oblivious S-Attack was to the fact that Chewy could be towards or could have eyes on window, just strolling past. But in the grand scope of things, it's not going to mean a whole lot. They hold on to the AWP. Board picked that up so he can drop it off. And as you can see, after buying, still pretty healthy amount of cash for the CT side. Still going to be enough money for one more time as well with the bomb plant going down. So up in the hands of Hades. We'll see, though, if they can actually get more rounds on the board, because that's really what matters.
Well, Stound is going to be back on top of the van. He will have to move forward due to the Molotov, and he checks close left for footsteps, but there won't be any there. And oh, this is really nice. So they have the 2-man setup in middle. Blayback goes around the corner. His teammate was dead. Press waiting on the player to come out underpass for the trib, but he does get 2 players towards top mid. Stound will drop the players in the apartments. There's more coming towards him.
Seems like every time BlameF peeks into mid, he's always good for 2.
Yeah. That's always a nice luxury to have. And Stound is another one. He will get quite a few kills here towards B. 3 for him.
He's doing well with that off. It's not a weapon that we've seen him pick up a whole lot. Ever since he joined Heroic, that's pretty much been S-Attack's gig.
That's the thing as well, right? Because now that NATO Safix is gone, that gives space for Stound to pick up that secondary op.
Yeah. It's a new look for sure. I mean, you could even go to the route of, like, Snappy has used an op in the past as well, so maybe he was thought to have that secondary role once he came into the team, but Stavin is dominating right now in Mirage. Maybe it's a map-specific thing, maybe not. He's got some lightning-fast reflexes. Borup's already been spotted by Chewy, but he's got his back covered, head blown off by a tag. And this has become a very labored A-take.
Ooh, really good shot from Stound. Missed shot that time, though.
Is he going to go back for more? Oh, he's waiting for the final player.
Well, he's got the info that he's there. There's a Molotov coming in, so he knows where the last 2 remaining players are. He can call that to Blame F. Can't really move forward in this gap, unfortunately, but the smoke is up. XE playing with the gap, and Blame F is ready for it. It's almost like they set that up. It's like,
planned it all the way along.
There's a gap right there. You know, it's too good to be true.
Just inviting the opportunity.
We were actually talking about Epsilon and all their different editions earlier this morning.
Yeah.
Blame F was one of those eras, right, with Epsilon,
That's
where
true,
he was just a god in the team.
Absolutely. His rise actually through, I guess, through teams and getting to the level he's at now has been pretty damn quick. I remember back, I mean, we've talked a lot about Copenhagen Games because we get to cover Force a whole lot, but they obviously won that event. But Blame F was playing, again, like with, I mean, ragtag bunch of friends and family, I was about to say, but, you know, a mixed team more or less.
Yeah.
At these Copenhagen Games, and pretty much just putting down 25 frags every single game, regardless if they won or lost. All of a sudden he ends up in Epsilon, plays there for a couple of months, and now he's in one of the best teams in Denmark.
He actually was meant to attend Copenhagen Games this year as well with Heroic, so that would have been quite funny for him, but scheduling issues. Chewy does find Borup a second as well onto Blame F, and suddenly is in a man advantage for one more time. It will be a 3v2. And Heroic looking to try and swarm this bomb site. They've got plenty of utility still left on both players, full utility in fact, so they can really limit these positions. Kai, could he be about to drop Snappy though? He has indeed, so it's down. He's got plenty of cash, so he can still attempt this. It's more about seeing what you can do, but unfortunately he gets caught with a nade in his hand, and Chewy will drop him. So last round of the half coming right up is going to be Heroic looking for 12. And one more time, looking to salvage a fourth. I mean, 11-4, again, we've talked about how this is a scoreline you can come back from. A little easier than that of a 12-3 half, so they'll be doing their best to try and pick up every round that they can. And, well, they've got a decent buy to do it, and, well, they're back to winning ways for a short amount of time, at least.
Well, they want to close out this half, at least in a positive manner, but Heroic definitely looking like quite a different team from what we saw yesterday. We'll be looking to get to 12 here before it's all said and done. Slow approach in mid here from the Polish team, and Blame's going to get the drop on FRZ. Stabilizing, not going to win out the second duel though. Kate finds first frag of the round for one more time. Problem is, they've gotten one man up in connector, but haven't really moved too far forward. They will end up towards the A bomb site. You can see the rotation coming in from K. He's going to pick up the bomb and join Chewy here on ramp. And they have Hades with the AWP just peering in towards jungle with that AWP. Still need to deal with Borup. And they do have a Molotov as well. That's actually going to be used for Ticket. Borup could cause so much damage here.
Well, he's just sitting under the wood. Player going right into him, and oh my god, that's the time. Will burn away Kai. And XC. Oh, it's actually Chewy that takes that one hit. He's up towards Palace. Smoke down, he moves his way through. Snappy will drop XC with the bomb getting planted. Estetai on 5 HP, starts to spam away, but it's Snappy who will connect onto Chewy. Missed flick from Hades, but he has a 1v3 on his hands. It's certainly not going to be easy, and Snappy finishes him off. There it is, a 12-3 half from Heroic. Much better than yesterday's performance, but this is exactly what we have to expect from Heroic.
Yeah, this is how they're meant to be playing, and again, it's everyone chiming in here, stabbing at 18. Snappy with 16, I guess a rather quiet 16 in that sense, but we talked about
it's flashy, right?
Yeah,
it's just been consistent.
We talk about how he definitely does have fragging capabilities when he went, well, basically when he was playing in the not even lower ends of Danish teams, but earlier in the days, obviously when he was not, he's never been on an Astralis or a North or something to that effect, but when he was playing with Reason Gaming or something to this effect, he's always been pretty damn efficient with his fragging for being an in-game leader. Now he doesn't even have to focus on that. We saw what that resulted in when we saw him in Optic.
Yeah.
In his last spell before Heroic, and he's continuing that now, so it's cool to see.
The in-game leadership can be a burden to some, a heavy burden.
Yeah.
It can really affect their individual ability, but Heroic look to go straight in towards the A bomb site. Very standard jungle smoke with a flash on in, and the rest of them can charge and put pressure on towards the lower wood player, who's doing a decent job of staying alive, but doesn't walk away with a kill. Hades will pick up one, Snap able to reply, but again, XC is alive and kicking. He had an excellent pistol performance yesterday, but he'll only grab one here, thanks to Stown continue his grit form into the second half. 2v3 retake from the CTs. No utility, no kits, but both players have got very high HP. So this is their only chance as they move on in. They've got to move slightly quicker than this as Borup will drop TRZ, and it will be Blame finishing off Chewy. So there we go. 13-3, 3 away here from Heroic taking the win.
Yeah, this feels like pretty much confirmation on what we've, I guess, been expecting, that Heroic are going to run away with this Mirage to start us off. Obviously, one more time, map pick was Dust 2. Might be a bit of a different go of it there. We did see them put up a fight versus G2 in their first group stage game. But yeah, this is definitely more to the liking of what we have come to expect from Heroic. Quick push into middle. Esatag is going to find Chewy hiding around the corner. Easy access into connector, and ooh, Cheeky dink there from the PT50 of K, but not enough to actually down him.
Oh, XC will drop Snappy though, and it will be into a 4v4. So, slight chance for damage here, perhaps, from the CT side, but Borup, he'll get rid of FRZ. And we're going to be into a man advantage for Heroic yet again. Although it just seems to be going back and forth as the tie gets domed by USP. Clearmap in a very awkward engagement, loses it against the USP, and it is into a 2v2. This is kind of scary for Heroic. You really want this chance to build up your money. These shouldn't be the easier runs to win.
All right,
and it might not even win it.
Yeah. Well, Borup eventually wins out the spray battle at the very end there, but seemed a little bit careless from Heroic at times there, I have to admit.
That was the round that nearly was lost for no reason.
Yeah. So still a couple of hiccups there, but they do manage to get that 14th, and obviously they're still going to be able to rebuy fully, but now they're going up against, well, not a fully kitted out one more time team, but at least a CT side with weaponry.
Stound's also a player that's really good with the Krieg. You know, when we talk about these Krieg specialists, or these SG specialists, Stound is definitely one of those. I watched a lot of his demos, watching some of the pugs he plays, and yeah, he's a really solid player with this gun. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do as he hits towards Tetris. It is Kai on default, who's going to have to deal with loads of players coming on in towards the position. He actually deals with Stound pretty quickly. Borup will get the trade almost instantly, though. And it's going to be a 4v4 with a pretty heavy rotation coming in from the CT side. They have left one player over towards B to make sure that this isn't a fake.
We'll see if it actually is something that Heroic commits to. They've thrown out additional smokes, but they have people just expecting backstabs to happen. Borup's going to fall. XZ's still alive, gaining some more ground here, and that's the bomb dropped as well. So now there's really no reason to, or no way to actually fall back for Heroic. XZ laying waste to the entirety of the Heroic team. Snappy, not going to be toppled by him, but down to 7 HP. This should be pretty much an impossible task.
Yeah, Kai does a really good job there. He does only get one kill, but he starts the domino effect, right? So he does a really good job of staying alive and getting one. And XC obviously follows up. Snappy on 7 HP should realistically fall here. And there's the peak from Chewy. Consolation rounds, it feels like at this point, but every round that you win is pretty impressive for one more time. If they can build this up to a respectable scoreline like they did yesterday against G2, and fair play to them. They haven't had the easiest time.
No, it's not easy teams that they're going up against. They're not running into, I guess, and there's no weak opponent, right? Yeah, there's no weak opponent.
On paper you would say X Epsilon, but look, they just destroyed Optic earlier.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, they're in the other group, so it would have been hard for them to run into
in the tournament, right?
Oh, all right then. Danish Deagle's out and about once more. Snappy with the early entry. And around. Oh, swing from Borup not going to be successful. XZ had a very slow first half, starting to build his confidence up here. Looking to find some easy eco frags, and oh boy. All right. It's not going to be as easy as we might have expected. BlameF sneaking himself into window stab and winning out the duel versus XZ. And all of a sudden it's K. 28 HP versus 3 full health Heroic players.
One minute on the clock. One more time. Do get around winning the last one, but this is always going to be the problem. If you can't put two together, the money's not going to build, the momentum's not going to build, and most importantly, the scoreline isn't going to build. So 15-4, it's one away here from Heroic taking the win on Mirage, and we'll swiftly find ourselves on Dust 2. And yes, we've seen some signs of life from one more time on Dust 2. But again, you've just got to feel that Heroic, pound for pound, just has better players.
Yeah. And again, when we're getting such a vastly different experience just from the individual point of view on the Heroic side, it's obviously going to be difficult. Stavin is not, settling with 2 frags in this one, to put it mildly. And that's going to be an issue because, as you said, pound for pound, this is not really a matchup that's going to favor one more time.
I would have loved to have seen a little bit more aggressiveness on the CT side here. Obviously, they don't have the weapons, but if they had the chance to build it up, if they had gun runs, that was something that you could potentially test against Heroic. They didn't handle the CT aggression too well against Game Religion.
Yeah, on
So,
overpass they consistently got thrown off guard really by especially Dennis.
yeah.
Just being out and about. Same thing with Rusty and Freiberg combining on that B-bomb site to push for monster or water.
Yeah, that's something I'd be willing to test though. If you're on the CT side against Heroic, is just see how well they can pack a punch when you get aggressive on the CT side.
Yeah. Right now Hades is going to find a connection onto Blame F, and it's going to be a weapon for him as well. Stavin has actually walked past Chewy,
wow.
so...
Was he lagging out?
Yeah, I feel like Chewy might have had a... Yeah, Chewy had a little bit of a
Yeah, I think I seen his ping was
ping
like
issue.
200.
Yeah, 298.
Yeah, not good. Anyway, he was probably not going to win. Just get one kill.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that definitely felt like Heroic were kind of cruising to victory for the better part of it. So, obviously, not fun experience to have for Chewy, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to really matter all that much. So, Mirage done and dusted. Heroic obviously showing a very different side of themselves compared to the overpass game we had yesterday versus Game Legion. Still favoring them for Dust 2, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think you can't really bet against Heroic here in this. I think if you're going to be give any analysis, should I say, on this game, you have to make the right and predicted calls. So that is definitely going to be a Heroic 2-0, I think, coming up. But Dust 2 is coming up next, and it's the chance for one more time to prove us wrong. So we're going to go to a short break. But once we return, we'll have Dust 2